Welcome to this new section in the After Effects course. In this section, we're going to learn how to export your videos from After Effects. We're going to learn how to do this in a few different ways. One, just a normal export, one with a transparent background, and then also how you animate an animated GIF or GIF from After Effects, which actually uses Photoshop because you can't do that straight from After Effects. So to do a basic export, what you would want to do is take your composition that you want to export, open it up, set your work area to where you want to export. So for example, with this lower third, maybe I want it to go to this point and then export there. And then go up to composition, add to render queue. Now there are two options for exporting. By adding to the render queue, you can export right within After Effects. If you want, you can add to the Adobe Media Encoder queue, which opens up a separate program which comes with your Creative Cloud subscription. And I'll show you how to do that in the next episode or next lesson. So click Add to Render Queue. Now that opens up this Render Queue tab, which is where your timeline usually is. And it has your lower third comp right here. The cool thing about After Effects is you can add multiple compositions to your render queue at the same time and export them, set them all up for exporting, and then export them all at once. So starting from the left, you have some settings. Typically, you actually just leave the render settings as best settings, and then under output module, this is where you select the format and quality and things like that. If you click this drop down arrow, you have some presets, or you can create presets. So I have some like for H.264, ProRes transparent. That's my After Effects export with a transparent background, but you might see some here. If you just leave it at lossless, it's going to export a full quality, sort of like the maximum quality, max resolution, which matches the size of your composition as possible. So that's a really good one if you're exporting and you just want a full quality. But if you want to change it, just click this text right there for lossless and you get your output module settings. From the top, you can change the format. Most of us are going to want to export a QuickTime format project. If you have a specific other thing, such as an image sequence, you can also export just as audio, but most of us will be using the QuickTime format and then changing our options down here. So over here, let's jump over here to format options, and clicking that brings up another window. And here is where you change the codec. Now this is a little bit more advanced. If you don't know much about video, then this might be a little confusing, but the video format is kind of the container. So QuickTime is going to be the container, the type of file, and then the codec is the process for how it's sort of compressed. And so if you drop down the video codec, you have here animation, you can see you have ProRes, you have H.264 down here. There are different ones, and for different reasons, you might want to choose a different option. If you want full quality, animation is a good option. A lot of video editors will want ProRes versions. So if you're working with other people, or if you're working with these effects and you want to add them to a video that you're editing in Premiere Pro, for example, you might want to choose Apple ProRes. 4444 is sort of the max quality out of the ProRes options. Or if you just want to quickly export more compressed version, but still a high quality version of your file, choose H.264. That's going to be the smallest file size or one of the smallest file size codecs, but still have a great quality. You can decrease the quality here if you want to make it an even smaller size, but you're going to lose some quality, so it might get more pixelated by doing that. So I leave that at 100. If you want to limit the data rate, which is another thing you might do, you can click this button right here and limit it to a specific data rate, but I usually leave that unchecked, so I'm getting the full H.264 quality. And then just click OK. All of these should stay the same for just exporting an H.264 file, RGB, millions of colors, pre-multiplied. If you want to change the size of your export, for some reason, you can click this resize button and then change the resize to another width and height. But if you're just trying to export the same size as your composition, leave that unchecked. And also, if you want to export audio, you can turn that on and off. I usually have it off or just leave it at auto, which won't export audio if there's no audio in your actual After Effects project. Here you can click Format Options to change the audio format too. Okay, so once you're happy with all of those, click OK. And now while I'm here, let me just tell you, so say you set that up, this is the H.264 setting. If you want to create a preset for that, just click the drop down button and click Make Template. And then just name your template. I already have one, but I would call this H.264 and then click OK. And now whenever you want to export anything from After Effects, you can quickly choose that H.264 template. To choose where you save, click this Output To and click that text right to the right and just choose where you want to save it and click Save and give it a title. When you're all ready to export, click the Render button, and this is going to work through your composition. It's going to give you a little ding when it's done. And then in your Finder, you should be able to find the video clip that you exported. So now we have this full resolution 1920 by 1080 H.264 file of our lower third. Now this file though, for this lower third, has a black background. It's not transparent. If I bring this into another program like Adobe Premiere Pro, say I import this into Adobe Premiere Pro and then put this on top of a video clip onto a new layer, what's going to happen, and here's just a quick little video I made recently, is, and let me turn off this audio, it goes from the video to this blank lower third, and that's not what we want. So for most animations where you have a background and everything, you can just export it that way as an H.264 file. But if you need a transparent background, I'm going to show you how to do that in a couple ways next.